Hey guys, it's Rodimus Primal. I am back with another video, and today I am going to bring you guys my review for Avengers Infinity War. Now, I'm going to do what I normally try to do, is that I'm going to give you guys my initial thoughts, what I thought about the movie, whether I liked it or I disliked it, and then I'm going to eventually get to actually talking about spoilers. Now, I know some of you have probably already seen the movie. Some of you are probably like so excited and so want to talk about it because there really is a lot to talk about. This movie is the amalgamation of literally 10 years of movie making. 2008 came out with with Iron Man, and here now we have 19 films of just like amazing storytelling. And also, of course, there's the secondary parts that are attached to the Marvel Cinematic Universe, including the the Netflix shows and the Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. and whether or not you like them or not is completely up to you. But these movies have obviously been an event for a lot of people, especially this one. This movie does feel like an event for everything that they've brought together. And that's the thing, is that a lot of the characters, the first Avengers movie actually had, bringing the superheroes together into one team. But this is bringing all of, the main movie roster together into one, big film. I mean, Black Panther having his whole, nation in Wakanda, and Doctor Strange doing his own thing, the Guardians of the Galaxy and the Avengers, they're all come together, and in such interesting ways that it's really an enjoyable ride. There are some parts where I looked at some of the character development and I was kind of like, come on, you're really gonna go in that direction? But overall, I mean, I watched the movie twice, and I really had a fun time both times watching it. I saw things the second time around that I didn't pick up on the first time, things that I was just kind of like, wait, that doesn't make sense, that doesn't make sense, it doesn't make sense. But upon second viewing, I was like, oh, okay. And that's the thing. A lot of times, some of these movies that because they're become so massive, you go to the movie theater and you're just like, you don't get it that first time around, and watching it a second time, it almost makes it a little bit even more special because this is really bringing again the story to telling together. Now, as far as from what you can see in the trailers, obviously Thanos is out to get the Infinity Stones, and he's going to stop at nothing until he gets every single one. And in his plan, now if you're a follower of the comics, or if you're a follower of what has been said in previous films, is that he's trying to court death. And I don't not trying to get into spoilers, but he's basically that, it seems to be what his primary goal and mission is, in addition to what's already seen in the movie. Now, there are some emotions that go through this where you literally feel like your heart is beating out of your chest. There are two moments in this film where I literally felt like I was just and then of course at the end of the movie, my jaw hit the floor. That's the best way I can describe it, without getting into spoilers. Just just my jaw hit the floor. It literally took me a minute before I was able to pick my I literally was like, because there was just too much. There was just so much stuff happens, and there is one scene after the credits. So if of course all these Marvel movies, they always do that. They always have a scene at the end, but this one is just one scene. And really, honestly, in my opinion, they should have just not done a scene at the end of the credits. They should have just made it part of the ending. But I guess that they really want you to sit through the wall of text that is the credits, because it's like a good 10 minutes of credits. These movies have gotten to the point where there's so many people working on them that 10-15 minutes of credits is just like isn't the norm now. I remember when like the credits took no more than 3 or 4 minutes to get through everybody, including the song, because a lot of times sometimes you would wait through the credits because you wanted to know the name of the one song that was played, or oh yeah, it was that song or something like that. With a Marvel movie, like you're so exhausted by the end of the credits, you're like, listen, I need to go to the bathroom. I need to go to the bathroom, because you don't want to get up. You don't want to get up, and if you had a big soda or a big bottle of water with you when you saw the movie, which don't tell the movie theater that I did that, but yeah, you're gonna need to go to the bathroom, and you're not gonna want to get up at any point during the film. You're gonna be sitting there going, so unless you can hold it, which because this movie does put you at the end of the edge of your seat, it makes you not you're glued to the screen. There are a couple of moments that are kind of dull, and a couple moments that are not, and I'm gonna get into that. So let's get into spoilers. Let's actually really get into it. Without further ado, let's actually talk about what does happen at the end of this movie. Everybody dies. Like, it is literally should be like the name of the movie should be Avengers. Everybody dies. Everyone dies. No, not everybody, but like they kept like pretty much like the main cast of the original Phase 1 characters, and obviously quite a few others, but many of the characters that we've known to love over these past movies, they all die, and throughout the one scene where Thanos just snaps his finger and boom, it's done, it's over. Man, just like, and one of the most heart-wrenching ones was Spider-Man. I mean, come on. I mean, he's the one that like his spider sense actually is warning him that he's dying, and he's like, no, I don't want to go, and that was heart-wrenching. I really felt for Gamora's death, which was in the middle of the movie. It's how Thanos is able to get the Soul Stone, is that he literally throws her off a cliff, and I didn't want her to die, but the way that they set her character up, the way they put her together, and I absolutely love her. I love the actress that plays her. I think that she's an absolutely beautiful woman, and I was just really like sad to see her die like that. And it was really awesome during that scene. Red Skull makes an appearance. I was like, that's so awesome. That was a lingering plot point in in Captain America: The First Avenger. I was like, well, what's going to happen? Are they going to bring the Red Skull back? Are they going to actually have like another villain return? Which these Marvel movies, unfortunately, they don't do. They don't bring characters back. They don't let a villain be a villain for 4 or 5 films. Except Loki, but Loki's been like this on again, off again kind of villain, especially if you guys saw Thor Ragnarok, which that was another death, like especially after so many characters had a redemption arc in Thor Ragnarok, which I watched Thor Ragnarok again on Friday night before seeing Avengers a second time, because I went with my dad. It was my dad's birthday. And we saw, Thor Ragnarok, and then seeing Heimdall die, and then seeing Loki die was like, man, like Thanos is just one of those villains like you just love to hate. You want to like literally just you want him to die, but then that's goes to show you he's a good villain. And I felt his emotion. I felt that okay, for some reason he had a soft side. Is the reason why he raised Nebula and Gamora, and him killing, Gamora obviously was really heart-wrenching for him. I love the pop culture references. We've come to, let me see if I can get this quote right. It was, we've come to give names and take ass. It was so funny that, of course there are some, the comedy lines in this film, that actually, helped lighten the mood, especially during the grimmer moments. Was what I really liked. There were points where it was it's so grim that you need some comedy to offset it, and this movie had a really good balance of that. Thor Ragnarok was pretty much like a comedy throughout the entire thing. Whereas this, it actually felt like it was a good balance. There was a good amount of somber moments, and there was a good amount of comedy, slapstick, not really slapstick comedy, but like, good one-liners. Rocket Raccoon, is constantly called Rabbit by Thor, and I thought that was pretty funny. I also liked that, that Peter Quill was kind of like, no, this is my normal voice. I love the Guardians of the Galaxy. The Guardians of the Galaxy they're just a great. I absolutely love their films. And I love the music. I like how it draws back to like that nostalgic time, and that's one of the reasons I really, really enjoyed both Guardians of the Galaxy films. And this, kind of like was cool because it was Doctor Strange and Spider-Man and the Avengers and the Guardians of the Galaxy. They all have these crossover meetings, and it's so cool to see. Doctor Strange and Tony Stark don't get along, and I love that. And one of the things that I found interesting, if you guys saw in the trailers, Hulk was running with the group in Wakanda when during the alien invasion in the trailers, but instead he's in his Hulkbuster outfit, and that's because Hulk refuses to transform from Bruce Banner. He turns back to Bruce Banner and he's like, I'm out, I'm done, and he's like, come on buddy, and he starts slapping himself and he's like, no, and I was like, why? But then again, I guess this is actually going to be a plot point. What I want to see, and maybe they might actually do this. They might actually do like maybe an all Hulks unite kind of thing where, Bruce Banner and the Hulk are now one character, and he doesn't transform back, and maybe he's green all the time, but he's not like dumb, brutish. Instead, he's Bruce Banner, but big and green. And maybe we might see that, in the future, and with some, reality bending. One of the things that a lot of people have been pointing out, and I kind of been kind of seeing some like people's like reactions, some spoiler reactions here and there, is that Adam Warlock doesn't play a part in this, because I'm guessing that he's going to be saved for part 4, which actually gets me to the whole ending. And with everything happened, with all the characters that died, except for the characters that died without the Infinity Gauntlet, the characters that actually were killed by the dusting, we know that's going to get undone, because there are only 2 movies in between Avengers Infinity War and whatever they're going to call Avengers 4. And it's interesting that they're not going to call it Avengers, Infinity War Part 2. They're going to call it something else, and I'm guessing that they can't give us the title because, well, it's probably going to dive into some spoiler territory. We know that they're going to have Ant-Man and Wasp, and that's probably going to take place before Infinity War, after Civil War, but before Infinity War. And that's probably the only logical place it could take place, because Ant-Man and Wasp are not present during Infinity War, which is kind of sad because, Ant-Man has always been a part of the Avengers, and same thing with Ant-Man, or with Wasp. So I was kind of like disappointed in that, but maybe they might show up for the second film, which that probably makes a lot of sense, because at the end credit scene, Nick Fury, grabs a beeper, which I thought was really, really funny, is that he actually grabs a beeper and he presses a button or whatever, and then he's like, mother, and I thought that was cool because it was like a throwback to it's like basically Samuel L. Jackson's Exit, and maybe he might not be returning. I think this is actually like where his contract might run out, but he disappears, and it's a Captain Marvel reference at the end of the credits. So we know that those are the 2 movies that are in between, Avengers 3 and Avengers 4, and we know that Avengers 4 is basically going to undo it. What I'm going to guess is that Miss Marvel or Captain Marvel and Warlock are going, Adam Warlock are going to show up in Avengers 4, and they're going to be the ones to undo everything, because it's going to be the only thing that they can actually do. And I'm really curious as to whether or not how the story is going to pick up from here. That's how the movie left me. A lot of people, I saw some people were really upset about how the movie left you on a cliffhanger. It left you feeling like, well, this movie's not really complete, and that's how I felt. I was like, no. How could you leave us like that? No, you can't leave us here. No. That was literally my reaction. Like once I was able to pick my jaw up, I was like, that was like I couldn't pick up. I couldn't comprehend my whole thoughts. My dad is sitting there walking. My dad has a difficult time walking. And we're walking back to the car, and he just starts blurting stuff out, and like there are people who are literally going to the movie to see it like after us, and I'm like, Dad, and he couldn't contain himself. He's like, I don't know what to do. I don't know what to do with this. And then my wife saw it with us, with me, obviously on Saturday, and she's just like that they're going to undo this. That this is going to undo this. That, like, she's literally processing how they're going to undo it. Because she's a big Marvel, fan as well. So I want to see how it all turns out, come Avengers 4. Some weak points. I think that there is a point in the movie where Thanos is holding Gamora up, and Peter Quill is a mess, but it almost feels like the delivery of the lines, and he's a good actor for as far as like some good funny moments, but like I really felt like this scene should have had a little bit more of emotional weight, because I think he used the Reality Stone to turn his gun into a bubble blaster, which was kind of funny. But when you're sitting there looking at it, like that should have been a little bit more, I don't know, like just like it should, like the emotions weren't there. I wanted the emotions to feel a little bit stronger, and I didn't feel it at that moment. But I did feel it when Wanda and Vision, when she had to destroy the Soul Stone, a little bit more, like that emotion was a little bit stronger. But here's the thing. Earlier in the film, I was like, I didn't like their relationship. I didn't like Wanda and Vision together. And I know that they're supposed to be together, but they just didn't feel right at the beginning of the film. They did at the end, but at the beginning, you're just kind of like, I don't know why this doesn't feel right. Whereas like Gamora and Star-Lord felt stronger as far as a relationship was concerned in in the Guardians films and the beginning of this. But at the end, I was like, like it was just like, it was literally like the two cross paths. Trying to think of some other things, but like there's just so much in this movie to digest, and that's probably the best way I can describe this movie, is that you're gonna come out of this going, how do I digest this? How do I digest a movie that does so much that it's literally an event? 10 years of movie making, how some characters are really stronger than others, how you're gonna enjoy a lot of the characters' interactions their first time meeting each other. Some of it you're gonna be like, no, that they shouldn't be doing that, and that's different or whatever. But I think at the end of the day, I think this was the best way that you can bring all of these characters together in such an awesome cinematic event. And I really had a good time, but I want to know what you guys think. Did you guys, see Infinity War? Obviously leave your thoughts in the comment section below. And if you like this video, be sure to thumbs up and subscribe. Follow me on Facebook and on Twitter, and be sure to, if you can, support me on Patreon. And as always, guys, until next time, till all are one.